I want to share with you step by step on how I not only created financial freedom, but I escaped the UK to live in the beautiful island of Crete. So you can just copy me. So come on a little walk with me. I'm just going to kind of show you around our beautiful villa. This isn't a flex. I'm just so proud of what we've achieved, and I still have to pinch myself every now and then of what me and my wife have achieved over the last few years. So if you're someone that's living in the UK right now, it's pretty tough, isn't it? And it's kind of been going on for the last maybe 3 to 4 years, but I'm not going to get into the politics, and I also don't want this video to get banned. So I'm just going for my usual afternoon walk here in Crete. A little bit of a grayer sky today, but it's still t-shirt weather. So I want to share with you step by step on what I did over the last couple of years to become a digital nomad and take my family, my wife, my dog, and my 5-month-old daughter to Crete to live a life, to have more time, more freedom, and to be able to release ourselves from the shackles of living in the UK, where it's pretty much doom and gloom at the moment. So as you can see from behind, you know, it's lovely and private out here. There's some building works going on, and we live in a beautiful 4-bedroom villa. We've got our own swimming pool. We've got an annex at the back for guests, and we pay the same amount of money to live there as we did in the UK in Suffolk for a small 2-bed semi-detached. It's absolutely ridiculous. And one of the other bonuses of living here as well is the cost of living, like the cost of buying things. Like I can go and get lunch from the local taverna and get me and my wife, you know, 3 to 4 dishes, locally sourced, grass-fed, great ingredients, and it only costs us about £10 each. Even simple things like getting a coffee is about £1.50 a coffee. And I know it may seem like little things, but it does go a long way. So anyway, on to the steps of how I managed to do this. So about 3 years ago, me and my wife said, wouldn't it be nice if we could leave the UK? Wouldn't it be nice if we could live in Crete, because we absolutely love this country? And wouldn't it be nice if we could leave the doom and gloom of the UK? And we were a bit stuck because a few years back, we were working, you know, the kind of 9 to 5 life. I was a personal trainer, working in a gym just before COVID happened. And my wife was working for a company selling machines all around the UK and a lot of driving. And then I thought about the online world. And the one thing I would say is step one is you need to understand and write down whatever your passion or whatever your skills or expertise are. Because if you've solved problems for yourself in the past and you're continuing to solve problems for yourself, or you solve problems for others and you have a particular skill or expertise, then that is valuable. Because when you have skills, when you solve problems, that alleviates pain for people. And when you can alleviate pain for people, that is valuable. And if anything I've learned and I can teach you about how to create wealth and how to create freedom is your ability to alleviate pain for people. And when you create value through alleviating pain, people will pay you handsomely for it. And this is how the whole entire economic system works. If you're hungry right now, if you stay hungry for too long, you're going to start to get groaning pains. You're going to start to feel crap. Your energy levels are going to get lower. So you're going to have to buy a sandwich, right? And that solves the problem. And I know that may seem like a really simple example, but my pains and problems that I solve for people is that I have a fitness background, I have a sales and marketing background, and also have a mindset background as well. I help people with identity shifting as I shifted my own. And you don't need the qualifications, you don't need a degree, okay, in this online world now. You just need to have mad conviction, a unsatiable passion to help others, and then anything is achievable. So that's step number one, is you need to find out what your passion is. You need to find out what problems or pains you've solved for yourself or you can solve for others. You can be a dog trainer, you can be a relationship coach, you can help people with parenting and tantrums, you can be a shamanic healer, you can help people through the power of Christ. You can do anything and turn that into a skill online. And I know this very well because we actually help people do this now as one of our other businesses, where we teach people how to create financial freedom. But before you do that, first things first is you have to get your health in check. A lot of people right now in the UK, and I used to be one of these people, we're walking around like lemmings. We're walking around like NPCs, non-playable characters. And if you look at this life that we live right now on this world, we can kind of see it as a game, as a simulation, a bit like Grand Theft Auto. And you've got the main characters, and you've also got the non-playable characters that just do the same things over and over again. And that may be you right now, and that was me once. And the reason why I was in that state was because I wasn't able to tap into my consciousness. Because you have two parts of the brain. You have the conscious and the unconscious. Some people call it the subconscious as well. And 99.9% of the time, we are acting subconsciously. And this is from our preconditioned programming. And our programming is from our senses, from our experiences in our environment. And some of us are programmed, and I was programmed like this once before, that you have to have a 9 to 5, you have to work extremely hard for money, you have to exchange your time for money as well. Money doesn't grow on trees, money is hard to come by, you have to work your ass off 50, 60 hours a week, and hopefully when you're 65 to 70, you retire with enough of a pension so you can live just above mediocre life. And that may seem true for you right now, but I want to tell you the truth, it isn't. But for as long as you think there is, it will be. If you're willing to open your mind, if you're willing to be open-minded, if you're willing to look slightly above the clouds where you are right now, you'll find out that creating financial freedom is within your grasp. And the only way that you can act consciously, or one of the only ways you can act consciously, is to start treating yourself better. Because if you're watching the news all the time, if your environment is in direct competition with where you want to be going with life, if you're feeding your body with shit food, if you're not exercising, drinking enough clean water, getting enough sunlight, getting out your environment and exercising, you're just going to be in this low vibrational state, meaning that you're vibrating at this very low frequency, and you're just going to go into autopilot mode. But when you start to remove the crap foods, you start to remove the distractions, you stop watching the news, you stop watching the media, you stop doom scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, and you start to feed yourself some good foods, you start to practice things like intermittent fasting, you start to change your environment, you start to change the thoughts that you have. And these thoughts that you change start to change feelings. And these feelings change the frequency and vibration that you're at, and it raises up this vibration and this level of consciousness you have. And then when you raise your consciousness, you start to formulate different thoughts. You start to question things, because it's not the answers you're after, it's the questions to get to the answers, right? And you start to question things, and you start to see things through a different lens. And this is called a paradigm shift. And I'm not going to go too deep and heavy into paradigms today, but all a paradigm is a lens that you view a certain situation, an obstacle, a challenge, or an event through. And if that paradigm doesn't shift, you have the same thoughts, you have the same beliefs, therefore you have the same options, or options not present, therefore you take the same decisions, the same actions, and it creates the same results. And your life just keeps replaying over and over again. It's a bit like Groundhog Day. But when you start acting more consciously, when you start practicing meditation, cold showers, fasting, eating better foods and so on, you start to question things and see it through a completely different lens. And then when you start to shift that paradigm, guess what happens? You shift the belief. And I apologise for the noise in the background. It's winter here in Crete, and there's a lot of building works going on. Look at that lovely, beautiful church behind. I just want to take a second here just to enjoy the views here. It's absolutely stunning. It's so peaceful. It really is. And then when you start to change those thoughts and those beliefs, you start to change your perspective. You start to see different options that are presented in front of you. You start to see opportunities where you saw disasters. You start to see solutions where you saw problems. And you start to get inspired. And it changes your actions. And then that changes the results that you get. It changes the outputs. It changes the inputs. And then you start to create a different life. So now you've got this down and handled, or when you have, and you're eating better food, you're looking after yourself more, you start to feel more positive, you start to feel more optimistic, you start to feel more inspired, and you start to have more belief in yourself that you can have it, and it will happen for you, and you can create it. And as a little side note, I want to tell you a bit of a shocking fact that I read up on recently. And this is in the UK, so I don't know what it's like elsewhere in the world, but in the UK, 1 in 30 men are inspired. So when I was living in the UK, and I was going into the shops, for example, to get some groceries, if there were 30 men in that shop, I could have potentially been the only inspired one. And not living an inspired life leads to a lack of fulfillment, lack of inspiration, and you just kind of give up and just go through the motions every single day, right? But now we've got the food sorted, we've got the energy sorted, meditating, looking after ourselves, we can start to get more creative. And you can start to think of this skill or expertise that you have. So right now you may be someone that plays the guitar, and you play the guitar quite well. Or you could be an avid golfer, or you could be a dog trainer. But you want to be able to either escape the UK or just create more time, location and financial freedom for you and your family. And you can put this into a skill. And you can put this into a product. And you can start to serve the world with what you already know. And you might be thinking to yourself right now, oh, hang on a minute, I need a degree, or I need a certain amount of expertise, or I need to be an expert. All you need to do is just be a couple of runs up the ladder further than where your market is at right now. You haven't got to be the best of the best. You've just got to understand people's pains, people's problems, people's desires, what motivates them, and convey that message. Because when you solve people's problems, it creates value. And when you create value, people will exchange money for it. Because where the most value goes, the most money will follow. And then in return, people will pay you to solve their problems. And one great thing that you can do is set yourself up some social media accounts. Change your social media accounts around, start producing content like I am today, and spreading your message of how you can help people on a daily basis. And day by day and step by step, create content solving their problems. Their micro problems, their rock problems, their boulder problems. And then they're going to start to build that familiarity with you and that bond and that emotional trust. And you'll gain a follower. And you'll start to gain these followers. And then when you're ready, you can make them an offer. Which moves me into the next part. Is understanding on how to make someone an offer. And I'm not going to go into depth for this. This is a completely separate training, and you'll be able to find this on my YouTube channel. And then once you have an offer, you need a place where you can start to serve these people as well. Hello, Mera. Where you can start to serve these people as well. And the platform that we chose to do this is Skool.com. And Skool.com is a great way to build community, to build courses, to build products, to build services, and a way for you to engage with your followers and get them a little bit closer to you in exchange for money. And this can be as low as $1 to $1,000 a month. The possibilities are endless. And the deeper the pain and problem that you solve, the higher the price will be. And the lower the pain and problem you solve, the lower the price will be. And you'll start to build out an Ascension model and building a business. And what I mean by an Ascension model is that you'll have tier 1. This solves the little pebble problems. This is the problems closest to them right now. Let's just say you're a golf instructor right now and you want to build an online business. The pebble problem you solve right now could be that you help them reduce the slice on the ball. And then you've got the rock problems. This is the upgrade to the next level program. And I'm not a good golfer, so I'm probably butchering this language, but this is where you might help them improve their swing and putting. And then you've got the boulder problems, which is where you can get them to becoming a scratch player in X amount of time. And you can teach people this inside a platform like Skool.com and any other platform that you choose. And you can start to teach this step by step. And the great thing about this is that you can teach it one to many or one to one. And one to many is where the real freedom's at. Because once you build courses, once you build products, they live on forever. Like this video here. Like, you may be watching this video in 2035 and this could have got 1 million views hopefully by now, and this is living on forever, and so will your course. And what you can then do is, by teaching this to so many people, you don't have to exchange your time for money anymore. How crazy is that, right? Not exchanging time for money. Because one of the biggest lies we're told as children and young adults is time equals money. And it's actually the reverse way round. Money actually equals time. Because if you make more money, you can buy your time back. Because there's 3 levels to this. People out there right now, and I've been all 3 of these, by the way, they go to work, this is level 1, and they only go to work so they can pay their bills and buy the stuff that they want. Then we reach level 2. We earn a little bit more money, we get a promotion or whatever it may be, and we earn enough money to pay our bills, buy the things we want, and have a good enough credit score to buy the things that we can't afford. And this is how we get into debt, right? And then when we get to level 3, we go to work or we create a business that makes us money. And for every pound that we make or every dollar that we make, we reinvest that back into the business to make even more money. And that's called compound interest. I'm just going to take another pause now. Like, look at this place they're doing up here. It's absolutely stunning. I'm glad I've turned around. I'm getting used to this area. I've only lived here 7 weeks and I'm getting lost now. Staring at the camera, I'm getting lost. And we're actually going for dinner in half an hour with some friends we've made since we've been here. And that's another thing about living abroad. Everyone here has just been so friendly and hospitable, and we're making friends with ease. It seems like I'm not just living in a different country, but like I'm living in a completely different realm, a completely different world. The smell, the feel, the energy, like, it might be a bit woo-woo for you right now, listen to this, but it's just such a different experience. So going back to creating a course, and then you can have one-to-one coaching, so you can coach people through Zoom, and coach people through Google Meet, whatever it may be, and you can provide a service. So step number 1, change your external and internal environment. Start focusing on your health, eating better, sleeping better, and moving better as well, so that you can raise your vibration, you can raise your level of consciousness, and you can start shifting your paradigms so you change the lens that you view making money online through. Number 2 is define what you're an expert at, or what problems you've already solved in your life or for others. You have a skill. My skill was fitness, it was also sales, and it was also identity shifting. So I have 3 businesses doing each of those. Next is to find a way, love these unedited videos, to start producing content so that you can share this message with others, and then find a platform like Skool.com to then deliver it. And if you're someone right now that's feeling inspired by this video, and you think to yourself, yeah, I want to give this a go, but you're still not too sure about taking risks, and I understand that. I never used to like taking risks myself, until one day somebody said to me, Russ, you're already playing the riskiest game of it all, which is life, because you don't fucking get out alive. And I was like, wow, okay, yeah. That's the end that we can't help, so I may as well take as many risks as possible along the way, right? But anyway, if you still want to be risk-free, if you see the link below this video, there is a 7-day mini course for you. It's completely for free, ironically, in Skool.com. This is where I house all my programs, how I've managed to create the life I have. That teaches you step by step, over 7 days, on how to create this community, on how to create this product, how to select your niche, how to work on your offer and create a grand slam offer, how to build the course using AI in less than 1 hour, and launch it to the market. So you've got no risk. The only thing that you have to exchange is a bit of time and energy. And if you like this style of content, and if you want me to go deeper on these subjects as well, then post a comment below, or even just post what your biggest takeaway was from this. A few years ago, this was just a pipe dream for us. A few years ago, I was still half telling myself it's probably not going to happen. But if a bloke from Essex with no A levels, no degree, and some pretty average GCSEs has managed to create time, location, and financial freedom before the age of 40, and I've only started doing this and learning about this sort of stuff for maybe the last 5 years before I started shifting my paradigms, then you can too. So thank you for watching the video. Give me a comment, give me a like, give me a subscribe if you got value from this, and I will see you in the next one. Much love.